We normally, Erin, at the end of the show, do a damn I wish I planted that. And we do it for people who are looking at plants that they might see in other people's gardens and it's blooming or it's looking amazing or it's doing something right now. And you think, oh, wow, I should have planted that in my garden right now. So we each have one of those for end of November when this drops. And you want to join us on that? Do you have one that you
Sure.
might want to think about? All right, so we'll give you some time to think about it.
Okay.
Leslie, you want to go first?
Sure. Yeah. Mine's pretty boring,
All
but it's a
right.
good plant. End of November. And this is, I thought to myself, well, if we don't have time to do damn, I wish I planted that now, I can use this all winter because it is a great winter plant. And it's an Ilex Crenata and it's the sky pencil. And I've used it successfully 3 different ways. So this is an extremely columnar, very skinny evergreen plant that at a glance, if you're a new gardener, you might think, oh, what an interesting boxwood, but it's a Crenata. And so if you look closely at those little not boxwood leaves, they are sort of crenellated and they're sort of ridgy on the edges. Deer don't eat it. I bought dozens of them for clients to use as a centerpiece for container plantings. And then if a client didn't want it, and they often didn't because they are very columnar, guess who ended up with a lot of Ilex Crenata sky pencils in her back hillside woodland garden. And they just made me so happy in winter because they were exclamation points of dark green coming out of the brown leaf duff. Like, oh, there's another one. There's another one. Kind of weird, kind of cool. The third way I use them very successfully is make an excellent straight line. Let's cover up the air conditioner handler thing. And I did that for a lot of clients. And just some info on there. They are particularly particular about where they want to grow. Only zones 6, 7, and 8. Isn't that weird? I didn't know that. That's
That is
that's
very
a small
specific.
range. Yeah. Spreads to 1 to 3 feet. And when I read that, I'm like, they don't get as wide as 3 feet. And then I'm like, oh no, remember that one client? And these were incredibly mature. So I never have grown them to that width, 3 feet wide. I actually did take care of 2 of them matching by the front door that were very, very old, well over 10 feet tall. We had to take the orchard ladder when it was time to prune those guys. You had to reach in. They were very thick. We had to use twine. They were enormous. But I think of them, a regular sort of middle-aged one as being only about a foot thick. And the ones that I have here at this garden, which really give me some privacy from neighbors, are probably only about a foot wide. And they are full sun to part shade, and they can take a little wet soil. So Ilex Crenata sky pencil, and they just reach right up to the sky like a pencil. So that's what I got.
So, Les, I have a question for you. On that one that was 3 feet, was it a little bit sparse? Was it a little leggy down
No,
below?
you could see a good trunk with the first 5, 6 inches, and then it
Okay.
just went crazy. And I wish I could take credit for the beautiful growth of this thing. We actually really had to reach in to remove some deadwood on the inside, but also just to thin it on the inside so that we could control it so it wouldn't sprawl. And then we would very subtly use twine to keep it from moving in the wind. So it just looked like this big, weird pencil. I like mine to look a little bit more natural. This is what these people wanted. It was an interesting garden task.
Cool. The deer eat mine, but they won't soon. Ha 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 ha. All right. So, fall garden, and I am picking Yucca filamentosa color guard, which
Great plant.
is one of my favorite yuccas. If you don't grow it, think about it because it's zones 5 to 10, and it's one of those almost indestructible plants. It does beautifully in drought. It's about 2 feet tall, I'd say, mature, and maybe a 2.5 foot spread. It's a spiky, beautiful accent in the summer garden, in the spring garden, in the fall garden. And the winter, it it is still beautiful. It just doesn't have the same sort of erect stature because it's maybe a little bit pushed down by, here and there. For you, Erin, I imagine it would be pushed down a little more than for me. It's just not as gorgeously erect, but it's still looking great. And at the end of November, it's looking terrific. It is variegated yellow and green, and it propagates beautifully. Wait a minute. Is it patented? No, it's not patented. It propagates.
Please
Just think
no.
about this for a
I
minute.
don't want to go to jail.
Hashtag going to jail. Um, It propagates beautifully from root cuttings, which you probably know if you've dug it up and moved it somewhere else and still had it sprouting somewhere. It is not monocarpic. Most yucca are not monocarpic, which means that it flowers. When it flowers, it doesn't die, like a lot of agave or others in that agave family. Most yuccas don't. So if it flowers for you, that's great. It may pup, and that may complicate that beautiful structure that you want. But a lot of times I just get in there in the spring with the knife and slicey the things that I don't want to see. And again, it propagates beautifully from root cuttings. So I think actually I'm going to wear a halo on this one because Yucca filamentosa is a native plant from southeastern or southwestern US, I believe. But this, I'm going to be in two worlds here because the actual cultivar was bred in Japan. So where does that leave us? I don't
Oh
know.
God, we're so
It leaves
confused.
us with a beautiful plant for the late fall garden. Erin, your turn.
Well, I have a question on the yucca first. So,
Oh,
can you just stick that in? I mean, what's the soil situation for that? Can you stick that in anywhere in the garden? Is it pretty adaptable, or do you need to be looking for really good drainage for that?
I'd
I
say
think
the
really
latter.
good drainage. Yeah, really good drainage. I have it in the my hugelkultur bed, which is a richer soil, and it's not as happy there as it is in poorer soils. It still grows. It really loves the sun, so it's looks its best. And again, my full sun is 7, 8 hours, maybe tops. So that's partial shade for a lot of people. But I would say drier soils, good drainage. I have grown and propagated root cuttings from it in almost straight sand and got a lot of little baby plants from that. So that tells me it's probably happiest when it's on the drier side. Do you grow it?
I don't grow it. Actually, I've never grown a yucca, but I have seen it, and it is indeed beautiful. That color is indeed striking. So
Yeah, it
I know
I
it
think
to
and
be a
it's
good
one of
one.
those plants that's it's hard for you to put it into a bed with things sort of coming over the top of it because even though it spikes up and it does add that color, it's really at its best when you can see that beautiful structure of it. And so if you've got a place where you can put it in a triangle with two others or somewhere where it has that whole structure, it really is a stunning plant. And there are many other variegated cultivars out there, not many others, but there's several which I think switched the variegation from yellow green to green yellow. But yeah, it's a good plant. If you got a dry spot, you might want to try it. All
I
right.
love
Good
that
to know.
plant. Do you have one?
Plants for
Damn,
plants.
I
What,
wish
Damn,
I
I
what do we
wish.
planted that.
call them? Sorry, thank you. Damn, I
Damn, I
wish I
wish I
planted that.
planted that.
I do. So okay, so we're looking at November time, right? So up
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
here
end of
in the,
November.
in the north, by end of November, there is not a lot that's left out there in terms of anything that's deciduous. So I am thinking evergreen, much like you did, Leslie. And I am thinking this is nothing that fancy, but it's Chamaecyparis, uh pis pis pis
Spera.
piscifera,
Yeah.
Piscifera?
Dow Whiting, which is also known, I think the trade name on
Oh,
it is
yeah.
soft serve, but Dow Whiting is the actual cultivar name. And I love this. It's a small tree. It only, I mean, they say like up to like 10 feet. That's probably one of those 10 feet in at age 10 or something kind of things. But it's a cute little perfectly triangle shaped Chamaecyparis with the most beautiful foliage on it. And it is deer, not, don't tell them, but it's deer resistant. Like, I don't know, like, so far it has been, I mean, I'm knocking on all the wood here because I don't want to invite a herd of deer to come eat it, but it's so charming and so cute and the best little texture. It's just a small little well-behaved evergreen, nice soft foliage on it too. And the best thing about it is that now I know we're talking about like late fall, but as we move into winter, it looks like when it gets a little bit of snow on it, it looks like a Norman Rockwell painting. It is just the perfect
Oh,
little, like you might think AI came up with this tree. I am completely enamored with it. And it's, you can
I am
push it
writing it
into
down.
Yeah, me
good.
too.
You can push it into a part sun situation, and it doesn't have to be full sun. And I've actually been told you can push it into, like half. Uh, and I'm actually thinking I've got some sort of struggling dwarf Alberta spruces that are doing that thing that dwarf Alberta spruces do. I mean, we know
Which
what they
is
do.
want to die. They want to die.
They want
So
to
They
die.
let
They are
want
they
to
are built to
die. They just wanna
yeah,
die.
they do. And so they're kind of looking sort of terrible. And I do think, and I planted them originally because it was a spot where I needed a small evergreen that didn't have totally full sun. And I do think that as those make their way out of this world, I will probably replace them with this Chamaecyparis. So I have just been sort of enamored, and actually it's growing at a nice rate for me too. I would say in 3 years it's put on maybe maybe a foot and a half of growth, which for a smaller evergreen is pretty good rate.
what do you expect for a total for a final?
And they say, well, they say 10 feet. So I think usually
Mhm.
with evergreens, they say 6 to 10 feet. Mine are 6 feet now. I think they usually give that as like a 10-year mark, and then I think they keep
They
going from there.
ignore it. They
But you
ignore
can
it.
prune
No
them
data.
too. I mean, if you
Or cut
want
them
to, you
down.
can. Right, bring it has a Christmas tree, whatever. You can prune them too, or whatever. But generally, a moderately small to moderately sized little evergreen. And what I like about it is that it's pretty wide. In fact, I was trying to look up the dimension, the width on it. I'm going to say maybe 6 feet wide or something like that as well. So it's a pretty good screening plant for a low screen, which
What's
is
the bark like? What's the bark like on the trunk, on the main trunk?
I actually have no idea now that you mentioned it.
Because it's growing.
I've never gone in there and see it because it's quite thick and really nicely kind of scallopy layered in there. So I have no idea what the bark looks like. Sorry.
And I'm just trying to figure out, I had some beautiful Chamaecyparis nana obtusa sort of things. I get all these names mixed up that were growing in front of my old house that I enjoyed so much. And the bark was remarkable enough so that I pruned it so that I could see the bark. I also wanted to see something in the middle of the triangle of trees. And the reason I got started down that avenue was because I was so excited about the foliage. It was almost like that blue-green type of foliage. Is that what's going on with your plant?
No, I would say it's more of a kind of emerald to dark green. It doesn't have any hint of blue on it.
Okay. I'll have to find out what mine was and use it as the next Damn I Wish because I loved that plant. Very cool.
It's
Very
been
cool. And so
it's been my experience with Chamaecyparis that the deer overall, in the great scheme of things, tend to leave them alone. Obtusa and the Piscifera, and I have another one that I can't remember right now. But they do tend to leave. I mean, I have had them nibbled, but it's not devastating the way I've had with other things. So if that helps anybody out or not, there you go.